We were going to originally bake, and Danielle and I were talking, I said, well, it's kind of boring to have people watch us bake cupcakes. One of the things that people really enjoy about what we do is that we sort of make fun, whimsical little faces and creations and things out of fondant, and people always say to us, oh, I wish I could do that. And I guess we're here today to say to you, you can. It's definitely not something that you have to be an artist to do, and my biggest advice to you is go out, buy some fondant, and dig in. And hopefully today we can get you started so that you'll feel comfortable enough or brave enough to make the investment of $9 and buy some fondant and try to decorate some cupcakes.
Can you talk about what fondant is?
Yeah, in a very basic term. Actually, the girls have fondant for everybody here. We're going to actually pass them out so you can feel it, smell it, taste it if you've never worked with it before.
Edible Play-Doh.
It's edible Play-Doh. It's sugar. Yeah. It doesn't taste very good. It's edible. Fondant's really an interesting thing to work with because it's made of sugar. It's composed of sugar, as you know, and if it gets exposed to air for too long of an amount of time, it will start to dry and harden on you. So what you want to do, and the reason we have the saran wrap is, as you're working on your fondant, you want to keep the pieces you're not using covered in plastic wrap so they don't dry out on you. And the other thing that we use a lot is we use Crisco. And we work on Silpat mats, these sort of rubber mats you can get at Williams-Sonoma, or you can order them through Global Sugar Art. I have folders for everybody with some of the websites that we go to order some of the tools that we're using here today. So you can see exactly what we use. So basically when you work with fondant, it's again like Play-Doh, and fondant on its own doesn't tend to dry very hard, so what we do is we mix it with something called gum paste. A lot of people use gum paste when they sculpt flowers and they do a lot of modeling, and we do a half and half ratio, and it seems to work out really well for us because it dries hard enough that it will be stable, and yet people can still eat it. I don't know if you've ever tried to eat something that's made of just of gum paste, but you'll break your teeth on it. It's edible, it has no taste, and it dries hard as a rock. So we try to do a mix of both. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to pop open some fondant, and we have some seats up here for some audience members we'd like to have come up and participate with us. So look at your fondant, and if anyone got a piece of white, you're one of the lucky ones. Who should come on? Yeah, if you're really uncomfortable, don't, but we'd love for you to come up and work with us. Great, perfect.
And I have to tell you that the young lady coming up here from the back is the creative director for Northeast Flavor Magazine and responsible for all the gorgeous artwork. That wasn't a fix, it was a pure question.
Oh. So Danielle's going to get everybody settled and we can get started. And basically, Danielle and I are art school graduates. We both went to art school. But again, it doesn't mean you have to be an art school student to work with fondant. Some of the things that we do start with something as simple as a cookie cutter. So what you might want to do, if you feel brave enough, is you can go online. There's a place called Copper Gifts, and they sell cookie cutters. And what you want to be mindful of when you order them is the size you get. Remember, the top of a cupcake is about this big circumference-wise. If you use something too big, obviously it wouldn't sit properly on the cupcake. So be mindful of the sizes that you pick. We brought, sure. So those are one of the ways that you can jump in and get started. So let me grab some fondant.
So where would you buy this, Tracey?
I go online. It's much cheaper to buy it. I buy through a company called Global Sugar Art. and I spend about $9.49 for a container. If you were to go retail, they run about $14, so it does save you some money. And the larger size you buy, the more you save. So you can go online, or you can go to Michael's or cake supply stores. They sell it also.
Did you make your own, or would it not be
Yes,
worth it?
you can make your own. I would never. It's just so much work. I did print out a recipe for those of you who are interested in trying. From what I hear, the marshmallow fondant has a good taste, so I printed out a recipe for marshmallow fondant.
And it may be one of those things like puff pastry that you could make yourself, but, you know, the frozen stuff is fine.
Exactly. The other thing too is there are different brands. When we do the sculpting, we use satin ice, but when I cover a cake, I use a brand called Fonderific. And it's funny, they roll out differently, they have a different sort of elasticity to them. The Fonderific is more tolerant, so I find it doesn't rip as easily and you can manhandle it a little bit more, whereas with the satin ice it tends to not be as flexible. So when I cover a cake, I use the Fonderific. When you go online, you can also order sample packs. So you can get 8 different colors and they're all different flavored, so you can try little bits before you commit to a larger order, and that way you know if you like the flavor of the coffee or if you like the berry flavor or the buttercream flavor. So I would recommend getting a sample pack to try.
It looks like you need a little bit of muscle to...
A little bit. It's again, it's a little bit stiffer than Play-Doh is. And if you find when you get it, the Fonderific when it comes tends to be like a rock. So you can put it in the plastic in a microwave, but do it in 5-second increments. If you make it too hot and it melts too much, it's no good to you anymore. So you want to just do it slowly and get it to soften up so you don't, break your hands while you try to knead it.
They must warm up.
It does.
The heat of your hands.
The other thing you want to be aware of is you don't want to over knead it, because then you start to break down the fondant and it doesn't, it won't hold for you.
The fondant is the stuff on the cake deck, like the Ace of Cakes, for example, where
Yes.
you're laying a big sheet of frosting, ivy frosting.
Yep.
You're sculpting it. It's sort of like your culinary modeling play. It's really...
Correct. There are several things you can use. You can use a modeling chocolate, which I've not ever tried. Obviously the gum paste and the fondant. Like I said, we do a mix. And what I do is on my mat, I take some Crisco and I just spread it down on the mat. And if I were to color this, I would use a gel food coloring, not a liquid. And the reason for that is you can control it a little bit more. If you put enough Crisco on your hands, you can keep your hands from getting stained from the food coloring. So I would highly advise especially working with black and red, I would highly advise really coating your hands with some Crisco if you're going to mix your own colors. For the most part, there are a million colors that they offer, and you can blend your own. So the need to mix food coloring in is very rare, unless there's a particular shade you need to get.
Tracey, you mentioned some of the flavors and colors you've got over there.
Yeah, I mean, there's everything. There's pastel colors. The brown generally is a chocolate. It tastes like a Tootsie Roll. There's white, there's bright pink. So there's a variety of shades, which brings me to the next point. When you decide that you're going to go ahead and attempt to use this, what you might want to do is try to think of a theme and think of a color scheme, so you can sort of plan out what you're going to do. When we get an order come in to the shop, someone will usually say to us, can you do a boy's birthday, and we want to do something from outer space, and the colors of the napkins and invitations are, blue, green, and yellow. So what we try to do then is incorporate, and I can show you some samples, incorporate something that will match what the people are looking for. Do you know where the space was? I have a few fondant samples I'm going to pass around. Please feel free to handle them, look at them. If they break, no worries. A lot of what we have here are prototypes that we've made before we've done a job. or there are things we've done larger and then we size them down. Yep, go ahead and pass those around. I'll take that for a second. So feel free to take a look at them. Wait one second. So we're passing around some that we did for sort of like a little boy's party, a space theme. And the other thing that the fondant's good for is you can make decorations to put around the cake and cupcakes. Like we made moon rocks out of fondant, so you can pass those around. Feel free to, you know, be creative and yeah, you can eat that, believe it or not. But see how it dries hard? Rolling pin. Oh, does it? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll out this piece of fondant. And like I mentioned before, we're going to use a cookie cutter.
Should be better. There we go. Got my battery recharged. Okay, so what are they doing over there on the table here? We're rolling out the fondant.
They're rolling out the fondant, and we have a couple different themes of cutters we pulled together. We have floral and spring. We have different shapes, and we have actually some that are dog related, little dog bones, dog houses, different shapes of dogs, so that they can go ahead and try their hand.
This is just, you know, arts and crafts for
It's actually really fun, and if you have kids that come over to the house for a play date, or, you know, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, children, it's a wonderful activity to do with them.
So are these special little rolling pins that you use?
Yep, you can get these on the site, the Global Sugar Art. Yeah. When you make your cutouts, what we do is we'll use an offset spatula and we'll pick them up off the sheet, and we put them on wax paper to dry, harden overnight. Generally, we like to give them at least a night to harden before we put them on the cupcakes.
Isn't that cool? There's just so much creativity in this, Tracy. It's just...
Yeah, it's really fun. And really, the thing you need to remember when you're working in a creative field like this, there really is no wrong way to do anything. It's all about you, and it's all about your creativity and what you enjoy, and you know, the people who you're making the cupcakes for or the cakes for. You might want to do something that they like. It might be in regards to a hobby that they do. So there's all kinds of things that you can do that people will really enjoy.
That is fun.
We have a lot of, we do a lot of charity work up in Boston, and we have some organizations that we do a lot of work for. We work closely with them. And one of them is the MSPCA. So usually at Christmas time, we do their tree lighting at the Prudential Center, and we do their dog walk, and we're doing a fashion show for them in May. So, yeah, it's really fun.
Right. And Tracy was kind enough to, when we had our launch party back in November for Northeast Flavor, Tracy brought some samples of her cupcakes, which were absolutely fabulous. There were other chefs who donated, but all of the proceeds went to the New Hampshire Food Bank. We raised over $1,400 for the New Hampshire Food Bank, and Tracy was part of that. So
it was really fun. So we do a lot of different things, like we'll make dogs and cats, and we built a Christmas tree to tie into the theme of their tree lighting, and they would put ornaments, people would donate money, and the ornaments would have their pet's name on it. So what we did was we made faces of different dogs and cats,
that's so good.
And we put them on an evergreen tree, and they were sort of a centerpiece. The cupcakes look like ornaments, so
that's a lot of work, though, Tracy. Gosh.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, and it is time consuming, but it was really fun.